Welcome to an episode on feedback on the formative assignment that you just completed this week. Okay, so I'm going to play through all the visuals now quite quickly, but you can pause it on any that stand out to you. The formative assignment was a Power BI visualization exercise, simply to get you going with Power BI. And it used World Bank data. The task, so clearly always read the question. Most people read the question carefully. Some of you handed in more than 1 or 2 pages, so take care in summative exercises because we won't mark beyond the length of document we asked for. So I'll go through a set of different feedback areas. The first one is, should you use 1 or 2 pages? So some people went for a comparison on 1 page of the richest and poorest countries. Some people put the richest and poorest country data on different pages, and there are different trade-offs here. If you put them on different pages, you can put more data with the visuals. If you put them on the same page, people can more quickly compare and see the differences. It's always a good idea to have a page title. It guides the viewers into the content on the page. And you'll see that on the right, it says 5 richest countries by GDP, so you instantly know what the page is about. On the left, you'd have to read the titles of the plots to find out what the page was about. Layout really helps with the clarity of what's happening, and this is one of a number of nicely laid out ones where the data is boxed and coloured, and the colours related to the grouping of the data. Overview and detail, or it's also known as context and zoom, is a really useful tool to use in visualizations. So this is one good example. If you put the population of the smallest and the largest countries on the same scale, then you didn't necessarily see anything in the smallest countries because their populations are so small. So there's a nice zoom in, a detailed view of those countries for these particular plots. So scatter plots, great for illustrating correlations. And here's one example. In addition, this also uses a KPI plot. So over on the right, a key number and a plot showing the data faded in the background. So a number of different uses of things. If you do use scatter plots, you can put a trend line in. We've talked about enhancing memorability, and this is one example where a background image is used to make the visuals stand out. So again, not data ink as such, but useful for remembering it. Take care with these that the background image doesn't overly interfere with the foreground images. Here it doesn't, but in some examples, the background image seems stronger than the foreground data, and you want to make sure you fade out the background image, reduce its contrast as much as possible. I guess a similar thing, design aesthetics, it's not going to add much necessarily to understanding, but it can help things stand out and be more memorable. This changes a lot of the defaults in Power BI. It uses a Times Roman style font. It uses a faded muted color set, and same with the background colors. Some of these styles you can download, or you can create one of your own. Creating one of your own is quite time consuming, but this is a nice example of a different aesthetic to the default in Power BI. So finally, double check your entire visualization. Try and cross-check the data you see on the page with some of the software tools. So you've got Excel calculating the same numbers, or Python, just to make sure that it's correct. In Power BI, in particular, check interactions. By default, Power BI lets you interact with everything and everything interact with everything else. Go through and check this, because sometimes you can click on a bar in a bar graph and everything else vanishes or is summarized as a single point. That's not really very useful to the users, so remove those. Edit interactions to remove those if that happens. Well, finally, thank you for all the hard work this week, and also to Microsoft for Power BI and Mozart for Piano Sonata number 11. I'll see you all soon in a lecture or a meeting.